welcome back to the ward in France. Today we are very lucky to have a special guest with us in an outside broadcast for us today, who is going to be bringing his expertise into several scenarios through the next few weeks and months. This guy is knowledgeable. He's an expert. He's extremely talented. He's very clever, and he's an artist in every aspect of his life. Today, we're delighted that we're going to see something really very special, something really very important, and we look forward to building up a really good relationship with this guest. And we'll just hand you over now, and just to check that he is actually, yes, he's ready. Yes, he is. Okay, well then let me hand you over now to our master gardener for the day, Mr. Ian Ward. Ian. Yes, that's right, Ian. In the masterclass that we are dealing with today, weeding, there are certain tools that you need in order to establish a really good weeding pattern. It's extremely complicated, and I'm really glad that over the years I have become somewhat of an expert. And to begin with the masterclass, you of course need your tools. You need the knowledge first of all, but then you need the tools in order to put that knowledge into practice. And the tools that I've established over the years that really are the best thing in order to perform a really good weeding operation are really complicated, in fact. And there are only certain places that you can buy these things in order to make the best of a really good weeding pattern. So what I have learned over the years is there are two really important steps in the art of weeding, and that is to gather your tools and then just to do it. It's ideal that you keep your weeding down through the winter, because through the winter they grow. And someone said to me once, very long time ago, you know, the best thing you can do is to do 5 minutes of weeding every single day, and then by the time the spring comes, the weeding's all done and you don't need to do it. Now that's great in theory, but in practice I'm quite lazy, and so when I see a weed I think, it's a weed, it can stay there. And then it gets to the point where it is a little bit overwhelming. So the tools that I've gathered and what I've done in order to become an expert over the years are, first off, gloves. Really important. Now you can't get gloves everywhere. Sometimes you can search for weeks online and not find gloves. I was lucky enough to find these gloves on a specialist website. I'll put the link in below so that perhaps you can browse about that later on. And the second thing, in order to be able to do a really good weeding operation, is a cushion. Now, some people may be wondering why there's a cushion. Now, in my world, I don't have knee pads because I can't find them. So what I needed to do in order for me to be on my hands and knees for extended periods of time to protect my aging knees is to have a cushion. So I can kneel up and down the terrace with my cushion, thus protecting my knees. So I would like to just hand back to the studio, and perhaps you'll come back to me. Yes, perhaps you'll, yes, right, okay, yep, it's back to you in the studio. That's great. Thanks, Ian. Yes, we'll come back and see how he's getting on a bit later on. It's an enormous task in front of him, and it's not something I'd like to be doing myself. Is there any other news that this channel would like to share with you at this point? I don't think so. You know, the weather is fair to middling, work is cracking on, the animals are all great, and some days it's warm, some days it's cold. Oh, is that, yes. Okay, right. All right, well, our master gardener Ian has actually suggested that we go back and see some progress. So let's just see. Okay, let's go back to Ian. Thanks, Ian. What's going on there? Yeah, so here I am I'm actually assuming the position for a really successful weeding operation. I'm on my hands and knees. I have my cushion to protect my aging knees, and I have the basic but most professional tools of the trade, gloves. And the gloves here are designed specifically to grab hold of a weed. If you can see, I'm now grabbing hold of a weed here. And what you do with this is you use your gloved hand and you grab hold of the weed and you just give a slight tug. And the magic of these gloves is that you bring up a weed and you bring up layers of moss as well that have built up over the winter months. It really is quite stunning. Join me a bit later on when the work unfolds and perhaps comes to good completion. Back to the studio. Yeah, that's great. Ian, it looks like you're doing a great job. We'll leave you alone to carry on. I think it's really important that you know, you're left in peace and able to really go for that artistry that you're looking for today. And we'll take a break, and what we'll do is we'll come back in an hour after the national news. Big news in France today. Emmanuel Macron survived a no confidence vote last night by just 9. France is going a little bit crazy at the moment, but I think that there are matters sort of much more important and closer to home, which is all about gardening in spring. So we'll see you after the break. Welcome back to The Ward in France. We hope you've enjoyed the latest film that we've just played for you. It really is a cracker. It should do well at the box office if it ever gets a national release. Let's go and see how Ian is doing out in the garden on the terrace. He really is such a hard worker, isn't he? Nothing seems to stop him. Nothing seems to faze him. He just keeps going and going and going. I think it is often not appreciated how much energy it takes to do some work like this, that is so physical, so demanding, but he really has got it together, and I'm full of admiration, quite frankly. So let's just pop across now, and let's just go and see how Ian is doing in the garden. Ian, how's it going over there? I'm sorry, there seems to be, yeah, I think there seems to be a little bit of a technical problem going on there. We will get back to Ian. I'm not quite sure what the problem was there, but we'll get back to him as soon as we can. Okay then, that's great. Thank you and welcome back. I have made some headway today. It has been really intense and full on, but thank goodness, you know, as an expert and a professional, I've been able to cope with the unexpected and the huge demands of this weeding experience. What I wanted to do just before I hand you back to the studio is to tell you of a new invention that has recently come onto the market. I'm not sure whether it's going to catch on or not, but what it is something quite experimental, and it enables people to really sort of just go for it in the garden in a way that perhaps they never could before. I will say it is a very complicated piece of machinery. I'm going to take just a second to describe it, really. It has a strange name. It's called a broom. Now, where this came from and who the inventor was, I've got no idea, but it is incredibly dangerous. And when I show you, I'm just going to demonstrate just very quickly what the broom is used for in a gardening scenario. As you can see, if I point the camera to some weeds here, for example, the broom is there, and so you have the broom in front of you and you push the broom forwards, and it's intended to bring all of the waste and filth and dirt together like this, so that you can conveniently dispose of it at a later stage. I think it's called a compost heap, I'm not sure, but one thing and it's really important that people listen to this, is you must not try this at home, okay? Unless you have a supervised, fully trained, fully qualified and fully insured responsible adult to be with you while you're doing this brooming, please do not try this at home. Okay, I'm going to crack on now, and perhaps you'll come back to me when I'm finished, okay? Because it's dangerous and I need to concentrate. Yes, Ian, that broom idea looks fantastic, doesn't it? I hope that outlets across the country and across the world will soon start to stock those. They look complicated, but they look like they might just get the job done. Let's hope so, shall we? Yes, well done. I mean, that is a cracker of a piece of equipment there, but do be careful as you work with it. Yes, thank you. Well, now I'm off my hands and knees, and what we have arrived at is the final part of the gardening. I'm so sorry, the camera is not particularly good today, but what I've been able to create are what I like to call piles. Now, they're not the traditional piles that people might think piles are. These are piles of leaves, weeds and dust and dirt. Now, I like to call them piles because I can't think of another name for them, but these are the piles that I've generated. And now what I need to do is I need to get rid of these piles and go onto a compost heap. Now, a compost heap is an area of the garden that is completely unused, and you just throw all your rubbish on it and you call it compost. It's a win-win for everybody. So that's my next job, and then I think I can call it a day. It has been stressful, it has been strenuous, it has been dangerous, and let me please reiterate, the broom, you must not try at home unless you are with someone that's supervised and qualified to do that. That's just so important for your safety and security. I'm lucky that I've had the relevant training and I have the certification to allow me to do it unsupervised, but that's because I'm a gardening expert. So anyway, that's it for now, and perhaps when I'm finished you can come back and I can show you the finished product once I have visited the compost heap. Back to you. Well, we're coming to the end of our time here, so we've just got time to go back to the Master Gardener for one more visit. We may even do two, I'm not quite sure yet. So Ian, how far have you got? Well, I've made it. I've reached the compost area, compost heap, just the compost, which is basically, as I said before, a dumping ground for useless rubbish and earth. So this is the area that I have designated as my compost heap, as I like to call it. And the great thing about this is it adds sort of structure to an otherwise quite barren part of the garden. It adds some texture. And the thing is about compost heap is in about 70 years time it would have disappeared and it would become part of the garden. So it's a win-win to have the compost and just to have a little bit of patience with it while it does its thing and it breaks down and becomes part of the earth again. So in about 70 or 80 years time that will completely disappear, so there's no need to worry about that at all. But I will now show you the magical finished weeded area of the terrace. Now this is rather back-breaking work, it's specialist work, but you know, if you're committed and you've got energy and enthusiasm and really strong fingers and of course gloves and a good cushion, then this can be something that you can do as well. So from a gardening expert to my viewers, I would say Have a go yourself. Have a go and see if you can do what I've done to create this area of tranquility and calm and something to enjoy for the rest of the year. And that's all from me today, from the garden, from the ward in France, and I'll hand you back to Ian in the studio, and I look forward to seeing you again for my next enormous project. Goodbye. Wow, what an experience. I mean, we are so lucky to have this expert amongst us now, joining the team. We're so lucky. And, you know, I think that he's going to be someone that is going to change everyone's lives. It's going to be transformative. It's going to be just, he's going to be the go-to expert. I've got a real strong feeling about that. I think the world will wonder what we did without him. But that does bring a close to today's news and information, and big thank you to Ian. He's been brilliant and we've really appreciated having him on, and thank you for watching, and we look forward to catching up with you again. I'm just yes, 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 yes. I've covered everything. That's great. So well done. Thank you for watching The Ward in France. I'm obliged to say by our sponsors to please like and subscribe. That would be great. And we look forward to seeing you again the next time we do a video. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great afternoon.